Hi, I'm Mark. This is Mark's Tech Vlogs on YouTube, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Switchbot Curtain Rod 3. Now this is the brand new third generation of the Switchbot Curtain Rod bot. This is basically a way of making your existing curtains smart. And this is great because it doesn't involve any rod, it doesn't involve any wiring, it simply involves attaching these devices to your existing curtain rod. Now Switchbot only announced this about a week ago at the time of recording, but I've actually had it for a few weeks in order to test it out for you guys. That means right at the start I need to tell you that Switchbot did actually send these to me to review. However, I'm under no obligation to say nice things, and so this will be an honest opinion of this new device, as with all of my videos. If you're curious about the difference between the Curtain Rod 2 and the Curtain Rod 3, then make sure you subscribe to my channel because I'll be putting a comparison video up in the next few weeks. And this new version of the Curtain Rod 3 sees a design change and some improvements across the board. I'm going to talk about all of the specs of this Curtain Rod 3 throughout this video. And I want to start off by talking about design. So the design of the Curtain Rod 3 is slightly different from the Curtain Rod 2, and it's actually a bigger design. This basically sees it take a slightly longer shape, and I think this is because of the improved strength of the motors inside. To be honest though, it does tuck behind your curtain, and so actually you never notice it anyway. Each side of the device has these removable clips in order to help you get it set up nice and easily, and these pull out to adapt to different sizes of curtain rods. The outside facing side has a button for pairing and resetting, and the base has a USB-C port for charging. And then the inside just has that Switchbot logo on it, which is embossed into the white and looks really nice. And then of course the top has those rollers that go over the top of your rod. This realistically is the only bit you'll see because this does poke above your curtains depending on your curtain type. There is also a roller at the top of the main body, and the rollers on these arms and the top of the main body work together to open your curtains. The optional solar panel accessories also have a nice slim design. These have white edges and white backs, and the front just looks like a solar panel. These also have adjustable arms and rods on them, which allow them to come down lower than your curtain. This means if your curtain sits slightly above your window frame, the solar panel will still see some sunlight. These solar panels attach via the USB-C port on the curtain rod itself. When it comes to cost, the Curtain Rod 3 will set you back around £89 for one, and the solar panel will cost an extra £25. This does make them a little bit pricey, although certainly comparable to other kind of whole replacement rod devices. What is worth noting, however, is that Switchbot have regular sales and regular discount codes. For example, I've got a 10% discount code you can use on the Switchbot official site below. And of course, when you bundle things together, so maybe multiple packs of them, maybe adding in a hub, maybe adding in the solar panels, it all gets cheaper the more you buy. These bundles are a great way of getting you started. It's also worth saying that this is actually the same price the Curtain Rod 2 started out at. And it's also worth saying that Switchbot have got a similar device for U-rail curtains if you haven't got a rod. So what about specification? So the Curtain Rod 3 has a weight of 852 grams per item, and it can operate between -20 and 60 degrees, which hopefully is the temperature your house is. On one full charge, Switchbot say you can get 8 months of battery out of it. This is based on 3 meters of movement twice a day. Realistically, however, it really is worth getting one of the solar panel devices when you buy these, because it means you never have to worry about charging them at all. And that's especially true with that new solar panel for the 3, which has low light charging implemented. This is great for duller days. But even with the Curtain Rod 2 and existing solar panel, I've found that I've been able to use these for a year and a half without charging them at all. The Curtain Rod 3 has built-in Bluetooth 5 and a range of up to 80 meters in open areas. If you use it with the Switchbot hub, then you also have things like out-of-home access, you've got compatibility with Siri shortcuts, Google and Amazon voice assistants, iFTTT and Samsung SmartThings. If the hub you've got is a Switchbot Hub 2, then you'll also have additional Matter support. This is especially great for Apple users because this gives you HomeKit use out of the box. This means it will just appear in your Apple Home app if you configure it via the Matter settings for your Hub 2. The biggest thing I've noticed in using the Rod 3 compared to the Hub 2 is one of the things Switchbot are really shouting about, and that is the difference in noise. The normal mode of the Curtain Rod 3 is now 44 decibels at 1 meter's distance, and then 25 decibels in this new quiet drift mode. Now Switchbot say this is quieter than human breathing, and I'm not sure if that's a helpful comparison, but it is really quiet. And that quiet drift mode basically operates your curtains opening and closing very slowly, and therefore very quietly. This is great if you want to wake up to sunlight without being disturbed by a motor. In terms of curtain compatibility, it works with rods with a diameter between 15 and 40 millimeters. So that's spec. Let's talk about installation. Now the installation of this is going to vary depending on your curtains and rod type, and I'd actually recommend by going into the Switchbot app as a starting point. From there you hit the plus sign and then you start the pairing process. Depending on whether you just charged it or not, this is going to involve holding down that button on the device with a light on the bottom to flash. The app will then talk you through the whole setup process step by step. Now in the box with the Curtain Rod 3, you get a long USB-C cable for charging, you get clips, you get bead fixers, you get a reset tool, and you get a magnet attachment. And which of these attachments and accessories you're going to need is going to depend on your curtains and the way they're set up. For me, I have just used the Curtain Rod 3 and none of the extra accessories. For me, that meant setup was as simple as hooking the Curtain Rod 3 over my curtain rail between the last hook and the second from last hook, and then popping that last hook back on again. You then follow the calibration process within the app, which basically just involves you closing the curtains manually and then letting the app move the device in order to detect where the end is. Compared to when I set up the Rod 2, this feels like a more streamlined process. Now if, like me, you've got two of these, which makes a lot of sense for a pair of curtains, then the app will automatically join these together as one device in the app. Likewise, they also appear as one device in the Apple Home app if you're using that Matter configuration with the Hub 2. All in all, the installation process is pretty simple. And what I'd recommend doing is just trying out the Rod 3s on your existing curtain rail without any of the accessories and just seeing how that works initially. If you need to, you can always add those accessories and work back through the instructions and recalibrate, but I think for a lot of curtain rails you're just going to need to attach the rods onto the curtain rail and not worry about all of the other stuff. It's also at this point in the setup process, if you've got those solar panels, you're going to want to attach those as well. These clip on nice and easily to the bottom of the Curtain Rod 3 devices and just hang down on the inside of your curtains. This is great for bringing them lower in order to get optimum charging from the sunlight coming through your window. Once you've got these set up and calibrated, it's also in the app you might want to set up some things like automations. Additionally, you might also want to set it up with a hub so you've got out of home access or voice control or Matter support. And then of course you might also just open the app in order to operate your curtains. I've been using the Switchbot app for quite a while and they've been continuously improving it, and it really is one of the best smart home apps out there now. And this leads us nicely to talk about, well, what is the Switchbot Curtain Rod 3 like to use? Now I've been using these for a few weeks and I've typically used them on an automation. So that automation opens them automatically in the morning and the time depends on whether it's a weekday or a weekend. I then also have an automation that closes them at sunset every day. The other great thing is that you can combine these automations together. That means the automations I've been talking about also operate my Switchbot blind tilts around the house as well. You can even set up these automations based on other Switchbot products. For example, maybe you want to close the curtains if the temperature in your room reaches a certain level. Or maybe if you turn off a light at night, that's when you want your curtains to close. One of the things I've been really impressed with is the quiet mode, which is what I've had working in the mornings. And as I said, this basically opens them much slower but also incredibly quietly. This is great if you want to be woken up gently by the sunlight. But it is also worth saying that even in the normal mode, the Switchbot Curtain Rod 3 is much quieter than the Curtain Rod 2 was, and it also sounds smoother thanks to those improved motors. Those improved motors can also handle much heavier curtains. In using these, when I've wanted to open them earlier or perhaps close them earlier, I've been able to just do that with the Switchbot app or my voice thanks to the Apple Matter support. And that's because I use Siri around my house. And of course, being able to monitor these when you're away from home, especially if you're away overnight, can also be quite useful. And really, the Switchbot Curtain Rod 3 is just one of those products that does exactly what it should and does it really well. And this is something that in using Switchbot products for kind of 3 or 4 years now is something I've come to expect from Switchbot, and it's something they just continue to deliver on. So all in all, what's the verdict on the Switchbot Curtain Rod 3? So having used these for a few weeks, once again Switchbot have created a brilliant product for making something existing smart. And the Switchbot Curtain Rod 3 basically takes what was already a very good product and improves it. The new motor can handle heavier curtains and it's also a lot quieter. And of course it has Matter support thanks to the Hub 2, which you also get with the Switchbot Curtain Rod 2. The only tiny criticism I'd say really is that I actually think all of those optional accessories and the instructions can make the setup process overly complicated, and I'd certainly recommend just trying putting the Curtain Rod 3 on your rods first and trying it like that before trying the extra accessories. However, the app does have video tutorials for setup as well as written instructions that come with them. All in all, however, with plenty of ways to connect these to different third-party services, a great app and the opportunity for automations, these are really, really good. It's also worth saying that there is a feature I haven't really mentioned, but it's a feature where you can kind of open your curtains manually a little bit or close them manually a little bit, and the motors will take over and do the rest. This is a useful feature if you're just near your curtains and you just want to close them. All in all, I think the Switchbot Curtain Rod 3 is probably the best product out there for making your curtains smart. If you guys have got any questions, then do stick them below, because this is a product I use every single day. If you do want to pick one up, I have put some links below, both to Amazon and to Switchbot's website, and this also includes a 10% discount code if you buy them on Switchbot's website. These are affiliate links, and that means if you purchase using those links, that will just help me keep making videos for you guys, because I get a very small portion of what you spend. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, consider subscribing to my channel, and I will see you guys again soon.